The Galactic Council had made one mistake. They thought humanity would beg. High Chancellor Zareth stood at the center of the Grand Tribunal, his iridescent scales catching the light of 1,000 star systems projected on the obsidian dome above him. 47 species watched in silence as the verdict was delivered, their compound eyes, their photoreceptor clusters, their crystalline sensory organs all fixed on the pale blue dot displayed on the holoscreen. Earth is hereby sanctioned, Zareth announced, his voice resonating through the translation matrix. Its fleet will stand down. Its colonies will be surrendered. Humanity will submit to galactic governance, or it will be erased. In the human observation booth, a woman named Jo leaned back in her chair and exhaled slowly through her nose. She was Admiral Darian Voss's intelligence chief, short, unremarkable to look at, with calloused hands and eyes that never stopped calculating. She tapped her earpiece twice. "Did you hear that?" she murmured. From 3 star systems away, aboard the USCS Prometheus, the response came immediately. Every word. The voice belonged to me, Lieutenant Commander Meredith Solis, the youngest tactical officer in Earth fleet history. They really think we'll fold. They always think we'll fold, said New York Warrant Officer Nyasha Dlamini, Weapons Systems Lead, currently running silent in a cloaked observation shuttle just outside the Council's sensor range. Her tone was almost amused. They've never read our history. They read it, said Day, Chief Strategist Deora Oben, speaking from an encrypted bunker beneath the ruins of Geneva. They just didn't understand it. Admiral Darian Voss had not attended the tribunal. He had been busy. For 14 months, ever since the Galactic Council had destroyed the colony ship New Carthage with 6,000 civilians aboard, citing a navigational encroachment violation, Voss had been doing what humans did when pushed past their limit. He had been preparing. Voss was not a tall man. He was not particularly handsome or dramatic. He had gray at his temples, a slight limp from a battle he never talked about, and a habit of drinking cold coffee without noticing it had gone cold. But when he walked the bridge of the Prometheus, every crew member straightened without being ordered to. There was something in the way he looked at a problem, like it was already solved and he was simply waiting for reality to catch up. "Hi," he said quietly. Ensign Hyan Park looked up from the navigation console. "Sir. What's our window?" 32 minutes, Admiral. All 7 strike groups are in position. Voss nodded once. He turned to the comm station. "Wha?" Petty Officer Woden Marcellus, who to everyone who'd served with him more than a week, looked up with the calm expression of a man who had long since made peace with impossible odds. "All frequencies open, sir. Council is still broadcasting the surrender ultimatum." Voss almost smiled. "Let them finish," he said. "It's polite." The galaxy had underestimated humanity for the same reasons it always underestimated the small and the stubborn. Humanity was young. Barely 4 centuries in space. Their ships were crewed by Galactic Council standards, no dark matter siphons, no probability drives, no crystalline defense lattices grown over centuries by civilizations 10,000 years old. What humans had instead was a word that didn't translate well into galactic standard. Spite. Jo had once tried to explain it to a Verati diplomat. Spite, she'd said, is when someone tells you that you can't, and instead of walking away, you spend everything you have just to prove them wrong. Even if it costs you. Especially if it costs you. The diplomat had stared at her with all 6 eyes. "That sounds," he had said carefully, "deeply inefficient." "It is," Jo had agreed. "It's also how we got here." The ultimatum ended at 0400 Galactic Standard Time. High Chancellor Zareth waited for the human fleet to stand down. The sensors showed nothing for 11 seconds. Then New York's voice crackled across the Earth Fleet command channel, quiet, almost gentle, "Now." What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for the next 300 years. 7 human strike groups, positioned at mathematically perfect intervals around the Council's defensive perimeter, activated simultaneously. Not their weapons, not yet. Their communications array. Every ship broadcast on every frequency, in every language used by every species on the Galactic Council, a single message. This is Admiral Darian Voss of the United Commonwealth Space Command. You destroyed our children. We remember. You will not enjoy what comes next. Then the weapons came online. Mi had designed the assault pattern herself, working 18-hour days for 11 months, running simulations until the numbers were burned into the backs of her eyelids. She had found something that the Council, in its ancient arrogance, had never bothered to look for. A gap. Not in their ships. Not in their weapons. In their thinking. The Galactic Council had spent 10,000 years fighting wars the same way, slow, formal, escalating in predictable stages. Warning. Sanction. Blockade. Strike. They had protocols. Procedures. A schedule for conflict. Humans didn't fight that way. Humans fought like they had nothing left to lose. The first wave hit before the Council's defense systems had finished cycling to combat mode. Day's bunker-fed targeting coordinates in real time, updated every 4 seconds based on sensor feeds from New York's cloaked shuttle. We kept every channel open so Voss could call off the assault at a moment's notice, because Voss believed, even now, that the Council might do the one thing that would stop all of this. They might apologize. They did not apologize. The flagship of the Third Council Armada, the Eternal Supremacy, a vessel so large it generated its own gravitational shadow, went dark in under 6 minutes. Not destroyed. Disabled. Every system, every weapon, every engine, every life support non-essential, neutralized with surgical precision. The crew was alive. Zareth's personal guard was alive. Everyone was alive. That was the message. We could have killed you. We chose not to. This time. In the Grand Tribunal, High Chancellor Zareth watched his tactical display turn red in ways it had never turned red before. His advisors were speaking, all of them at once, their voices overlapping in a chaos of translation static, but he had stopped listening. He was watching the data. 7 strike groups. 41 human vessels against 300 Council warships, and the humans were winning, not because their technology was superior, but because they had planned this with a ferocity and a patience that no species in the Council had believed humans capable of. 14 months, he realized, cold settling into his core. They've been planning this for 14 months. Since we destroyed their colony ship. They hadn't protested. Hadn't filed a grievance with the tribunal. Hadn't sent diplomats or threats or demands. They had gone quiet. And they had prepared. His senior advisor, a Verati elder named Strix, leaned close. Chancellor. The humans are hailing us. Zareth looked at the communication request on his screen. The name on the header was simple. Admiral Darian Voss. USCS Prometheus. Zareth accepted the call. The human on the screen was unremarkable. Gray at the temples. A slight stillness to him that felt, somehow, more dangerous than rage. He was drinking from a mug. He looked at Zareth with the calm expression of a man who had already won. Chancellor, Voss said. Admiral. Zareth kept his voice steady. You are outnumbered 7-1. Yes, Voss agreed. And yet, Voss said. A silence stretched between them, across light years, across the translator matrices, across 10,000 years of galactic civilization looking at 400 years of human stubbornness. What do you want? Zareth finally asked. Voss set down his mug. Justice for the new Carthage, he said. Full accountability. Reparations to the families. Reform of Council enforcement protocols. And an acknowledgement, public, permanent, entered into the galactic record that humanity is not a subject species. We are not a colony. We are not a resource. We are peers. And if we refuse? Voss looked at him for a long moment. You won't, he said simply. Behind him, Jo allowed herself one small, quiet smile. In the weapons bay, New York leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes. At the navigation console, Hai exhaled for the first time in an hour. Mi, 3 star systems away, put her head down on her console and laughed, a short, exhausted, disbelieving sound. Day, in her bunker beneath Geneva, opened a bottle of something she had been saving for exactly this moment. And Wa, at the communications station, turned to the Admiral and said very quietly, Sir. The Council is composing a response. Voss didn't look up. I know, he said. The galaxy had gone quiet. For the first time in 400 years, it was listening.